Meeting the mirror of life at the threshold of knowledge and cultivation. Gustave Flaubert's Madame Bovary. Hello. Today, the work I'd like to discuss with you is Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, perhaps one of the most classic and essential works in literature. Even if you find literary works daunting or distant, I strongly recommend this novel. While the words knowledge and cultivation might feel burdensome, this book offers profound insights into the world we live in and the depths of our own hearts. I hope you'll approach it with an open and relaxed mind. Some of you might think, I don't read many books, or this seems too difficult for me. However, Madame Bovary tells the story of Emma Bovary, a woman in 19th century France, and through her, it explores timeless questions about human longing, dreams, disillusionment, and choices. Without the need for complicated theories or background knowledge, simply following Emma's life will lead you to recognize your own reflections. In this essay, I'll introduce the plot of Madame Bovary and examine the insights we can gain from it. 1. The author and the birth of the novel. The dedication of an artist in pursuit of life's truth. Before delving into the novel itself, it's important to briefly discuss the author, Gustave Flaubert, 1821 to 1880. Flaubert was a representative of 19th century French realism, literature that sought to portray reality objectively, avoiding the exaggerated emotions and idealism of Romanticism. Flaubert dedicated his life entirely to writing and spent immense effort perfecting his prose. His famous pursuit of the exact word, le mot juste, reflects his relentless dedication to capturing truth through language. This meticulous craftsmanship is deeply embedded in Madame Bovary. Published in serial form in 1856, Madame Bovary initially faced accusations of obscenity, leading to a trial. This controversy revealed the discomfort society felt toward the portrayal of Emma's life and desires. However, Flaubert was ultimately acquitted, and the novel became a landmark in French literature. This outcome signifies the recognition of the novel's profound insights into human nature, beyond mere tabloid scandal. The mid-19th century in France was marked by rapid societal changes due to the Industrial Revolution. The decline of the aristocracy and the rise of the bourgeoisie, along with the limitations of Romanticism and the emergence of realism, set the stage for Madame Bovary. Through Emma's tragic story, Flaubert sharply critiques the hypocrisy, superficiality, and universal vulnerabilities of human nature in this evolving era. 2. Emma Bovary's life path. The clash of romantic dreams and harsh reality. Let us now follow the life of Emma Bovary. She was born in a rural farming family but grew up in a convent, where she developed a yearning for an ideal life through the romantic novels she read. Her imagination was captivated by fantasies of aristocratic romance, glittering social circles, and eternal love, dreams far removed from her humble reality. 2.1 Boredom and disappointment in an ordinary marriage. One day, Charles Bovary, a kind but unromantic doctor, entered her life. Emma believed her marriage to Charles would mark the beginning of her dream life. However, her husband's dull and monotonous existence failed to fulfill her romantic ideals. Gradually, Emma grew disillusioned and felt trapped in the mundane life she had expected to transcend. 2.2 Temptation and the prelude to destruction. This disillusionment led to significant changes in Emma's life. When she experienced the glamorous upper-class world at a ball hosted by a nobleman, she became more aware of the disparity between her dreams and reality. This encounter intensified her longing and drove her to seek escapism. Her first escape came through Rodolphe Boulanger, a charming aristocrat. Rodolphe, with his refined demeanor, skillfully ensnared Emma's heart. Their affair seemed to fulfill her dreams of passionate love. However, Rodolphe eventually abandoned Emma, leaving her heartbroken and ill. After being betrayed by Rodolphe, Emma sought solace in another young man, Léon Dupuis. Unlike Rodolphe, Léon was more sensitive and emotionally nuanced. Emma attempted to rekindle her romantic fantasies through their relationship. Although they maintained a passionate connection through secret meetings in Paris, this affair too was an illusion. To sustain their relationship, Emma spent extravagantly, leading her into a life of lies and financial ruin. 2.3 Debt, ruin, and tragic end. Emma's affairs and indulgences led to insurmountable debt. To fund her lavish lifestyle and affair with Léon, she resorted to loans, diving deeper into financial crisis. As debt collectors came to her home and all her assets were threatened, Emma turned to her lovers and friends for help, only to be abandoned. Rodolphe rejected her, and Léon lacked the means to assist. Overwhelmed by despair, Emma ended her life by drinking poison. Even after her death, tragedy continued. Charles discovered Emma's infidelities and was devastated. Though he tried to understand her, he eventually succumbed to the emotional and financial burdens. Their young daughter, Berthe, was left an orphan, and Emma's romantic delusions and reckless behavior caused devastation not only to herself but also to those around her. 3. Lessons from Madame Bovary. Gaining wisdom from life. Emma's tragic life provokes deep reflection. Beyond being a story of a 19th-century French woman, it reveals universal human weaknesses and life lessons that remain relevant today. 3.1 The gap between illusion and reality. What should we believe in? Madame Bovary powerfully highlights the disparity between illusion and reality. Emma equated the romantic lives in novels with reality and complained about her mundane marriage. Instead of accepting or improving her situation, she constantly sought escape through fantasy. This attitude ultimately led her to tragedy. In our society, there are those like Emma. Media, advertisements, and social media continuously present images of perfect lives, luxurious possessions, exotic travels, and ideal romantic relationships that can make our ordinary lives feel inadequate. If, like Emma, we chase these illusions instead of finding contentment in reality, we risk dissatisfaction and despair. Madame Bovary asks us to reflect: are our ideals grounded in reality? Are we overlooking the value of the present? While illusions can inspire, they shouldn't become a means to escape reality. 3.2 The lack of self-control and self-reflection. Where does true freedom lie? Emma failed to control her desires. Her longing for love, material luxuries, and glamorous life grew endlessly, ultimately destroying her. Moreover, Emma always blamed her unhappiness on external factors: her husband's mediocrity, rural boredom, and societal misunderstandings. She never reflected deeply on her choices and actions. Today, we live in a consumer society. Desires for the latest smartphones, fashionable clothes, and expensive cars constantly tempt us. If we spend beyond our means or chase endless stimulation like Emma, we risk economic and emotional hardship. Madame Bovary underscores the importance of self-awareness and moderation. True freedom isn't found in external conditions but in mastering one's inner world and making conscious life choices, lessons Emma's tragedy teaches us. 3.3 Societal constraints and personal responsibility. How much of this is my responsibility? Emma's tragedy cannot be solely attributed to her personal flaws. In 19th-century France, women had limited choices. Marriage was often the only path for social advancement, and for a sensitive woman like Emma, escaping rural monotony was nearly impossible. These societal constraints contributed to her misfortune. Nevertheless, we must recognize Emma's choices within these limitations. She opted for escapism rather than addressing her reality and pursued irresponsible desires. The novel acknowledges the impact of social environments but ultimately emphasizes personal accountability. Emma's life reminds us that while we may face external pressures, our choices and actions within those contexts define our lives. 3.4 The dangers of materialism. Can happiness be bought? Emma's downfall began with her debt. To maintain her romantic dreams and extravagant lifestyle, she took on reckless loans, which ultimately strangled her. For Emma, money was not just a transactional tool but essential for sustaining her illusion. She incorrectly believed money could buy happiness. In our capitalist society, materialism constantly tempts us. The belief that a better car, bigger house, or more expensive clothes will bring happiness echoes Emma's illusion. However, Madame Bovary powerfully shows that while material wealth can contribute to happiness, it is never sufficient. Through Emma's tragic end, we are reminded that true happiness stems from inner contentment and meaningful relationships. 3.5. The courage to face life's truths. What is cultivation? Flaubert neither condemns nor pities Emma. He objectively portrays her life and the people around her, like a mirror. Through his detached perspective, readers come to understand Emma's foolishness and the tragedy it brings. This is the power of Flaubert's realism. Madame Bovary demands the courage to confront life's uncomfortable truths. Emma's story may warn us about hidden desires, weaknesses, and illusions within ourselves. Cultivation here means more than simply acquiring knowledge. It involves deeply understanding life's truths and applying that wisdom to our lives. This book offers us the insight to reflect on ourselves through others' lives and make wiser choices. 4. Conclusion. Reading Madame Bovary and reflecting on our own lives. While Madame Bovary is set in 19th century French countryside, its insights into human nature remain timeless. Emma's tragic life invites us to consider the gap between romantic dreams and harsh reality, the importance of controlling desires and self-reflection, and the risks of materialism. This novel compels us to ask: am I living like Emma Bovary? Am I comparing my life to the glamorous images on social media and feeling unhappy? Am I indulging in unaffordable desires or blaming my misfortunes on external circumstances? Madame Bovary does not offer easy answers. Instead, it provides a lens through which we can objectively examine our inner selves and the world around us. Reading this book is a process of reflecting on our lives, finding the courage to stand firmly in reality, and making wiser choices. Though literature may seem daunting, it can truly guide our lives. Madame Bovary shows that by simply listening to the story of a woman, we can enrich our own lives. I sincerely hope this book inspires new insights and reflections in your life. When you open its pages, Emma Bovary's story becomes not just a distant tale of the past, but a mirror of our present lives.